It's nice to see different point of views of different people from different professions as well.
Yeah, and the thing is that I'm trying to get doctors to actually talk about it because they're on strike. I was like, "You're on strike," and there was this one guy. He was working in the pharmacy, and then he kind of like switched jobs, and I was like, "That's great. Now you can tell me the dark side of vaccines."
So you have to also keep an open mind. I have to say that.
Yeah.
Have to keep an open mind. You can't really say it's all bad, because despite everything, yes. So that's the one thing I always try to have an open mind about things. And also you have to, I think me personally, I like to always have an open mind, and then at the same time look at things in other people's point of view. Not vaccinated, how come you chose that?
Okay, it's a long story actually. First of all, I wanted to tell you, like, before this, okay, I was I got a scholarship to study medicine, okay? So way before this, way before this pandemic, I'm 26 years old, and way before this pandemic, I decided, okay, I got a scholarship, I worked hard for it, I'm going to study medicine. And I went there and I did a couple of years there, and I figured out this. I was debating a lot with doctors, and the thing is that they had a problem that if I'm going to be a doctor, I will be talking about all of this, and there were no rights of speech. Okay, and yeah, so I'm talking about why is the pharmaceutical industry being promoted while we are studying medicine, and it's kind of like weird because there are holistic methods, and I came from a culture that's basically more into like alternative medicine, we have alternatives instead of using drugs and artificial medication. So yes, I've been a studious student who's debating most of the topics in the class. So yeah. And
That's
then
awesome.
yeah, the thing is that when I was after a couple of years, I decided to switch the course, switch to another course, and I want to start business administration because medicine is going to be a long time, and my dad can't afford it afterwards. So what am I going to do? I am going to do business, I said to myself, and I went with my family to France. And this was right before the pandemic for some coincidental reason. Right before, it was like 2 years right before the pandemic. And then I had some sort of awakening. I had gone through some sort of awakening, and I kind of found my purpose afterwards. It was kind of to tell the world, try to restructure the education system because it has failed me in some way. And now I know all about the vaccines and stuff like this, and I know the downsides and the upsides of the vaccine. So I refuse to not take it, but yet take the personal responsibility in order to not spread it to someone or have the possibility of spreading the disease on to someone. So that's my view.
Yeah, makes sense. Have you taken any other vaccination, i.e. like a flu shot, the measles, the mumps?
Yes. Yeah. I have. I'm not an anti-vaxxer, but it's just that COVID-19 vaccine is has been released over a short period of time. So I'm going to tell you the theory and the boring stuff right now. So so according to my view, it's like this. Vaccine is drug classified. Okay, you have these 8 steps that the pharmaceutical industry has to kind of go through before releasing the vaccine. And it starts with the preclinical trial or animal testing. And after the animal testing, they test about healthy individuals, like a small group of healthy individuals. Then they move on to larger groups of patients. And it's the FDA has to approve at each stage. And then we have to fill in the IND application, which is the initial drug application, and then the new drug application. And that's normally around 100,000 pages. So this is a process that takes 10 to 15 years to make one vaccine. So when the vaccine comes out like this, within a small period of time, I'm thinking, okay, this is business. This is business. This is, it's not supposed to be like this. And the CDC released a document back in April, I think, that 4,600 odd people have died from COVID vaccines. So this is the theory that I've learned. If you release a drug into the world, and if it causes a significant number of deaths, you should take it out of the market. Swine flu was taken out of 56 deaths. The vaccine for swine flu was taken out after 56 deaths out of the market. And they started actually looking for a cure, and this is the only pandemic where they force vaccines on people. So yeah, so this is my reasoning.
Okay, fair reading, fair reasoning. So I will say a couple things, which I love this. I'm loving where this conversation is going. So I have not got my vaccine as of yet. I have zero vaccine. I'm not an anti-vaxxer. I do not. I never have taken the flu shot ever. I've only taken the vaccines, which like the mumps, the measles, like stuff like that. I've taken those ones, but I was like younger. So I've taken those ones, but I've never taken the flu shot. And to be honest with you, I'm in the same boat as you, as in I choose not to take the vaccine as of yet. I'm planning maybe like next year or like the year after or something like that. I'll probably take it.
I'll take it after it goes, like after probably a couple of years.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, yeah, the thing is that it just released within like 6 months, and I went and obviously, you know me, I just went and argued with some of the pharmaceutical people working in the pharmacy, and then I went to the hospital and I started arguing with the doctors. And then yeah, I actually took one of the people working in the pharmacy, she's a pharmacist, and she gave me the document that the government gave, because we are living in France, and health passes were needed to actually go anywhere actually, except the supermarket, small supermarkets. And what I did was I took pictures of that document and went right to the hospital to actually argue with the doctor. And they told me that I had a point, and what the government is doing is wrong when they're mandating vaccines. That's why some of the doctors here and nurses here are on strike, along with 300,000 other people. And I was like, this is a good thing, because you know why? I was a med student, before, and I kind of switched because of this problem. So it's kind of like
I'm not someone that will say, hey, do not get the vaccine, do not get the vaccine. I am someone to say, guess what? If you want to get the vaccine and you believe it's safe, go ahead and get it. I understand people that are in the older generation. I understand for those people with a weaker immune system, if they feel like they should get the vaccine, go ahead. It may or may not work.
But most at the start, I don't know, at the start of 2020, like the end of 2020, actually when the vaccines were released, you would see that people who got the vaccine and kind of died from it were old people, especially from Norway. And this was because they can't handle the adversity of the virus, because this type of virus is strong. So again, it's impacting weak immune systems like the elderly.
Exactly. So my whole theory is, hey, if it's just another strain of the flu shot, take 2 flu shots. Plain and simple. In the story. But yeah, I'm up in the air. I'm like, again, I'm not one of those people. I do not participate in protests. I'm not into all that stuff. It's to me, it's a choice. It should always be a choice. And that's why I do not like how the government is mandating it. It should honestly just be a choice. And if you choose not to take the vaccine, my advice, wear a mask, hand sanitizer, you're good to go, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, and social distancing. Yes.
Exactly, right? And then again, even with the restaurants, it should be the fact that, guess what? If you choose to go out, and honestly, like, hell, take some vitamin C, take some vitamin D, eat healthy, build up your immune system, you should be fine, to be honest with you. And I think
Yeah,
that's
actually,
something.
yeah, I put some remedies up on my podcast as well.
Excellent. That's what I mean. Like, those things, it's just, in my personal opinion, it's just a really bad flu. And I think that over the years, I've seen it when SARS came out. All of us, I swear, I think everybody in the world carried a little hand sanitizer in their pocket when SARS started, and everyone
For
was.
us, yeah, for us, nothing. We were in Sri Lanka, and like
Mhm.
this wasn't a big deal.
Yeah. So I remember the world, like, everyone was carrying like hand sanitizer, everyone was washing their hands. We started to slack off, and then we started to reduce our hygienes. I think that's our biggest thing that happened, and the reason why COVID is such a rampage when it started. I think a lot of things could have been prevented if we increase and we were very conscious of washing our hands properly.
And they don't take personal like responsibility. Like how when you go to school, you always get sick because they don't care. Okay, they're like most of the people are like, okay, I'm going to give, if I have a cough, I'm going to give you a cough. It's like
Mhm.
it's like that.
And that's why I'm hoping that this is something, a call for worldwide, like nation to nation, is that, hey, if you're really sick, stay home. Really,
Yeah.
like, whether it's a cold, whether it's the flu, whatever you have, the mumps, chicken pox, whatever it might be, stay home, get rest, eat porridge, eat soup, whatever you gotta do, take your vitamins and just rest. And kind of like, because at the end of the day, you are not just jeopardizing and your health and your immune system by interacting with other people, but you're also in other causing harm to everyone else around you, which I believe is a big issue in our society nowadays. Especially, no offense, but you see like places where it's very populated, i.e. India is very populated.
Yes.
China and Japan is very populated city. Places like New York, Toronto, for example, they're very highly populated areas. Like you said, it's just a cough or a sneeze. And then, with bio and your medical background, you start seeing the spread of how a sneeze and a cough and germs
Yes.
spread around, which is quite interesting. And I wish everyone actually had even like a minimum bio experience or knowledge to understand how viruses and germs spread. Because if they did, they would understand that, hey, let me wash my hands.
Yeah, and it's like they in the beginning of the pandemic they did not wear mask properly. Like they didn't know
Mhm.
how to wear a mask. This is how I saw people wearing the mask like this.
Yeah.
Like, what's the purpose of the mask? I like, yeah, some people had it like this.
That is awesome. But that's the thing, and I love people's creativity in a sense, but it's so dangerous at the same time. Again, it's those minor things that people believe that, hey, let me just wear my mask below my nose. It's like, what? Like, you're like, what are you doing? Or I've seen people like have it just over the nose and the mouth is exposed. I'm just like, those are still passageways that could go into your body.
I know.
So
It's like the mouth, the nose, the eyes, and the ears are kind of openings. But if the germ is going through the ear, it has to take lots of time to go through those canals, and then you have earwax. So
that's correct.
Yeah. And if you go through the eyes, if they go to the eyes, rarely someone is going to spit at you onto your eyes. So I take that as an example. And you blink so fast in the midst of a second, so you kind of escape anything that's like heading towards your eye, and you have tears to kind of destroy anything that enters. So the main openings of your body are your nose and your mouth. So that's why they should be covered. Why your nose and your mouth? Because they have a direct contact with the body. You're breathing with you're inhaling and exhaling with your nose. And you can have a direct contact with your mouth as well. Therefore, both of those organ should be like closed.
Very true. One thing you also forgot, your mouth and your nose is like one of the warmest places in your body that enters.
Yes.
So when you actually have bacteria and viruses, it actually increases the multiplication of those specimens, which is actually quite interesting. I love this conversation. I miss bio.
Yeah.
I miss science. Like I love science so much. Because COVID affects the economy. And I believe that's a big thing. And as you going into business, and actually we're kind of like, and it's pretty funny because I actually have a business background. I have accountant and finance degrees, and also have biotech and friggin' all these other degrees and science and finance, which is fantastic. But COVID affects the economy, which is huge. I believe because COVID affected the economy, you saw the decline, stock market crashing and everything like that. The government said, hey, I need a vaccine. I need it tomorrow. So they got their vaccine. If it was something like cancer, if cancer was something that affected the economy, I guarantee you tomorrow we'll have a cure for cancer. I don't care what anyone says.
Yes, we might have a cure immediately. That's why I made the podcast. I was like, okay, if the vaccine came out immediately, that's the time I thought that this whole COVID thing was fake. Okay, the statistics were, I was wondering at the beginning of 2020, why are the statistics so exaggerated? Like everybody's going to die or something like this. That's how it was exaggerated. And you can see that in 2020, there were no flu cases. Then I was like, okay, most of the flu cases just mysteriously vanished and then entered the COVID-19 numbers. And even I had people who I knew were dying of heart attacks, diabetes, or accidents, but would be recorded as deaths of COVID-19. And I was like, everything adds up to COVID-19 at the end of the day. So I'm like, this is so false. A business approach, okay, they want money. Yeah, so what they did is they created this whole scenario. So I would say that, and they kind of like, businessmen in a country, when they're in a country, they kind of know the political leaders because apparently they went to school or something like this. And because they know like people of higher power, they can mandate stuff now. So people they have to buy their product and they kind of have no choice. So it's kind of like, it's a business, it's a business game. I think it's a business game.
It is medical altogether, or the medical industry. There's a huge numbers, huge dollars into that we pour into the medical field or the science field altogether to find, and the biggest word is longevity. And that's exactly what we're paying into. We're paying for longevity. We're seeing what medicine can get people to work longer and also prolong life overall. Because again, it's the money. If you look at it's sad to say, if you look at the research of cancer has been around for like over 50, 60 years now. For the research altogether, it's a multi-billion-dollar company. And all that money, again, it's the medical field, the drugs, the medicines that people are pouring into for a cure, not just for cancer, but for everything else. It's ridiculous of how much money is out there. And yet we do not have a cure for all diseases out there.
Yeah, even HIV, like, and the thing is that I was kind of going along with the pandemic in the beginning, but like right after they released the vaccine, I was like, hell no. It's a lie. It's all a lie. I was like, I'm convinced it's a lie.
Do you feel, so based off of all your research and so on and so forth, I don't know, well, I'm pretty sure you know all the vaccines out there. If you had to choose any of the vaccines.
I'm not sure, like all the vaccines like Zypher, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca, and what else?
There's Pfizer.
Yeah,
and I think India just came out with another vaccine. So from all those, is there anyone that you feel like, you know what, if I had to pick a choice, which one would I pick? Or would you just not go with any of them?
I'm not going with any of them.
Good answer.
Know why? The thing is that they're looking at the science behind it. I'm saying that they're not efficient enough. No matter how much it's said that vaccines are going to give us herd immunity, it's not going to give us herd immunity. Why it's not going to be give herd immunity? Because variants are always changing, and we cannot cure a pandemic through a vaccine.
Very true. Very, very true. I love this conversation. I love the podcast. So what is your podcast about?
So it's everything about the pandemic. It kind of started with saying that why you shouldn't take the vaccine, and it kind of gives information on how drug trials should be done. And this is kind of like an experimental drug that's out there, and it's kind of it's failing our education system as well. I give some holistic remedies as well, because there are doctors who were kind of afraid to like come out there. And after a couple of months, I saw that America's frontline doctors have released results of vaccines, and Children's Healthcare Organization, defense.
And what's your podcast called?
Their podcast, the Pandemic Press.